Fleet Commander Zorax stood on the observation deck of the Galactic Dominion's flagship, the Eternal Glory, watching as Earth burned below. The blue-green planet that had caused his empire so much trouble was now wrapped in flames and smoke, its once vibrant cities reduced to smoldering ruins. His 4 eyes blinked in succession, a sign of satisfaction among the Vrexian species. The humans had fought valiantly, he'd give them that. But valor meant nothing against superior technology and numbers. "Is it done?" asked Sub-Commander Pella, her scaled skin shimmering under the artificial lights as she approached. "Almost," Zorax replied, running a clawed hand over the control panel. Preliminary scans show 98% of their military infrastructure destroyed. Civilian casualties, approximately 4 billion. Only 4? Pella's jaw ridges flared in surprise. There were nearly 8 billion of them. Zorax waved a dismissive hand. The survivors will pose no threat. They are scattered, leaderless, and without technology. In a generation, they will be nothing but savages fighting over the ruins. He turned from the viewport, mandibles clicking together in what passed for a smile among his kind. "The Council will be pleased. We have eliminated the human threat in less than a solar cycle." "With all due respect," Commander Pella said, her voice dropping to a cautious whisper, "shouldn't we confirm total pacification before reporting success? The humans have proven unpredictable." Zorax barked out a harsh sound that approximated laughter. "Unpredictable? Yes. Resourceful? Perhaps. But they are still primitive biological entities confined to a single world that we have just devastated. What could they possibly do now?" As if in answer to his question, a proximity alarm blared across the bridge. "Report." Zorax barked. "Sir, multiple objects approaching from the far side of their moon," the tactical officer announced. "They are small, fast-moving. Hundreds of them." "Debris from their orbital stations?" Pella suggested. The tactical officer, a bulky Craxian named Durg, shook his massive head. "No, sir. They are powered, and they are accelerating." Zorax felt a twinge of annoyance. The humans still had functional spacecraft? Display them. The main view screen flickered to life, showing a swarm of small, crude-looking vessels. They were clearly hastily constructed, mismatched components welded together with little regard for aesthetics. "Those aren't military craft," Pella observed. "They look like mining vessels? Repurposed civilian transports?" "Scan them," Zorax ordered impatiently. "No significant weapons detected," Durg reported after a moment. "Minimal shielding. They are packed with biological signatures. Humans, thousands of them." Zorax relaxed. "Refugees, fleeing their dying world." He waved a hand dismissively. "Let them go. They will run out of supplies soon enough, and the nearest habitable system is light years away. They will die in the cold between stars." "Sir," Durg interrupted, "trajectory analysis indicates they are not fleeing. They are on an intercept course with our fleet." Zorax blinked in confusion. "Intercept? Are they insane? What do they hope to accomplish?" "Maybe they plan to ram us?" Pella suggested. "A final, desperate attack, met with unarmored civilian vessels against our battlecruisers?" Zorax snorted. It would be like throwing pebbles at a mountain. Pathetic. He settled back into his command chair. "Launch interceptors. Destroy them before they get within 10,000 kilometers. I don't want debris damaging our hull plating." "Launching interceptors," Durg confirmed, his thick fingers dancing across the control panel. Zorax watched with mild interest as their sleek fighter craft streaked toward the approaching human vessels. "This would be over quickly, sir," Durg suddenly shouted. "The human vessels are breaking apart." The view screen showed the crude spacecraft splitting open like seed pods, releasing countless smaller objects. "What in the seven hells?" Zorax leaned forward, his previously casual demeanor vanishing. "The smaller objects are accelerating," Pella reported, her scales paling with alarm. They are moving too fast for our targeting systems. Impossible, Zorax growled. What technology is this? No technology detected, Durg said, confusion evident in his deep voice. They are just humans. Explain yourself, officer, Zorax demanded. Individual humans in some kind of basic pressure suits, Durg elaborated, staring at his readings in disbelief. They have got simple propulsion packs. Nothing more. Zorax felt a cold dread forming in his gut. Are you telling me that thousands of humans in primitive spacesuits are launching themselves at my fleet? To what end? His question was answered moments later when the first wave of humans reached the nearest Dominion cruiser. The view screen showed tiny humanoid figures swarming over the vessel's hull. They are breaching the hull, came a panicked report from the communications officer. The Relentless is reporting multiple hull breaches. Humans are entering through maintenance hatches, exhaust ports, sensor arrays. This is absurd. Zorax thundered. How are they breaking through our defenses? The tactical display was now showing red alerts across multiple ships in the fleet. Zorax watched in growing horror as one by one his mighty warships began reporting internal fighting. Sir, we are receiving a transmission from the humans, the communications officer announced, her voice trembling. Put it through, Zorax ordered, his mandibles clenched tight. The view screen changed to show a human female. Her face was streaked with dirt and blood, but her eyes burned with an intensity that made even Zorax uncomfortable. Her pressure suit was torn in places, hastily patched with what looked like adhesive tape. Attention, Dominion forces, she said, her voice eerily calm. This is Colonel Maya Winters of what remains of Earth's Defense Force. You thought you'd beaten us, didn't you? Zorax found himself unable to respond. You calculated everything perfectly, she continued. For orbital bombardment, synchronized strikes on our military installations, electromagnetic pulses to knock out our infrastructure. By all logical measures, you won. Why? Her lips curved into what humans called a smile, but there was no warmth in it. But you made one critical mistake. And what was that? Zorax finally managed to ask. You assumed we think like you, Colonel Winters replied. You thought we'd surrender when defeat seemed inevitable. You thought we'd break when you destroyed our homes. You thought we'd give up when you took everything from us. She leaned closer to the camera. But that's not how humans operate, Commander. When we have nothing left to lose, that's when we are most dangerous. And reports continued to flood in from across the fleet, more ships being boarded, more systems failing. What are you doing to my ships? Zorax demanded. Taking them, Winters replied simply. Your automated defenses are designed to repel organized attacks, not thousands of desperate individuals willing to sacrifice everything. Your crews are trained to fight in formation, not against humans who have watched their families burn and have nothing but vengeance on their minds. Pella leaned close to Zorax. Sir, the Invincible is reporting that the humans have reached their engine room. They are threatening to overload the antimatter containment field. Zorax felt his blood run cold. An antimatter containment breach would destroy not just the Invincible, but any ships within thousands of kilometers. You are insane, he told the human. You will kill yourselves along with us. Colonel Winters shrugged. Maybe. But we are already dead, aren't we? You saw to that when you bombed our planet. She glanced at something off-screen. I should mention that while we have been talking, we have also been broadcasting your fleet positions to every surviving human settlement. The ships we are capturing? They are just the beginning. Sir, Durg interrupted, his voice grave, we are detecting more launches from Earth's surface. Thousands more. Impossible. Zorax slammed his fist on the armrest of his chair. We destroyed their launch facilities. You destroyed our military bases and spaceports, Winters corrected him. But humans are remarkably resourceful. Did you know that before we developed proper spacecraft, we were planning to explore space using nuclear bombs? Zorax stared at her. What? Project Orion. The idea was simple: detonate nuclear explosives behind a spacecraft to propel it forward. Crude, dangerous, and incredibly effective. She smiled again, that terrible smile. We have had the plans in our archives for centuries. When you destroyed our conventional means of space travel, well, we got creative. You are using nuclear explosives to launch ships? Pella asked, horrified. Not ships, Winters replied. Just capsules, filled with more humans. More survivors. More people with nothing to lose. Alarms blared across the bridge as another wave of human attackers approached the fleet. Sir, the Invincible is gone, Derg reported quietly. Antimatter containment failure. 3 nearby ships were caught in the blast. Zorax felt numb. This couldn't be happening. They had won. The humans were defeated. You should know. Winters continued conversationally, as if they were discussing something trivial. That we are not just boarding your ships. Some of us are landing on them just long enough to attach fusion warheads to critical systems. You won't know which ships are being captured and which are being turned into bombs until it's too late. You would sacrifice your own people this way? Zorax demanded. Each volunteer knows exactly what they are signing up for. Winters replied, her voice hardening. And every one of them has seen what you did to Earth, to their homes, to their children. Zorax noticed something disturbing in the background of Winters' transmission. She wasn't on one of the makeshift human vessels. The architecture behind her was unmistakably Rexian. She was already aboard a Dominion ship. You won't get away with this, Zorax said, trying to regain his composure. The Dominion spans thousands of worlds. This is merely one fleet. Even if you destroy us all, more will come. We are counting on it, Winters replied. By the time your reinforcements arrive, we will have mastered your technology, replicated your weapons. And unlike you, Commander, we won't make the mistake of underestimating our enemy. A new alarm sounded, proximity warning. Zorax looked up to see a small human craft approaching the eternal glory. Our ships are impressive, Winters continued. Faster than light travel. Antimatter power cores. Weapons that can devastate planets. She paused. They will serve us well in what comes next. What comes next? Zorax asked, despite himself. The counterattack, Winters said simply. You thought this was a war, Commander. It wasn't. It was an invasion. And now humanity is going to show you what war really means. The transmission cut off as the first explosions rocked the eternal glory. Humans have breached decks 30 through 50. Derg reported frantically. They are heading for the engine room and the bridge. Seal all bulkheads. Zorax ordered. Deploy internal security forces. Sir, Pella said quietly, looking at her display, I'm receiving reports from the surface. The bombardment, it didn't work as we thought. What do you mean? Zorax snapped. The humans, they were ready. They had underground shelters, massive complexes beneath their cities and in their mountains. Billions survived. Zorax felt the deck shudder beneath his feet as another explosion tore through the ship. How? How did they know we were coming? We jammed their communications before the attack. I don't think they did know, Pella said, her voice barely audible over the alarms. I think they have been preparing for something like this for centuries. It's in their entertainment, their literature, their history. They have been imagining scenarios like this, planning for them, since before they split the atom. The lights on the bridge flickered as the ship's power fluctuated. Sir, Derg reported grimly, we have lost contact with 60% of the fleet. The rest are reporting critical damage or have been captured. Zorax stared at the tactical display in disbelief. His mighty armada, the pride of the Dominion, was being dismantled by a supposedly defeated enemy using technology centuries behind their own. The bulkhead at the rear of the bridge suddenly glowed red, then white-hot, as something burned through from the other side. They are here, Pella whispered. The bulkhead burst inward, and through the smoke stepped a human male. His pressure suit was blackened and torn, revealing bloody skin beneath. In his hands was what appeared to be a crude projectile weapon, primitive but no doubt effective at close range. Behind him came more humans, each armed, each bearing the same expression of grim determination. "Commander Zorax?" the lead human asked, his voice rough. Zorax drew himself up to his full height. "I am Fleet Commander Zorax of the Galactic Dominion. I demand that you—" The human's weapon barked once, cutting off Zorax's words. He looked down in shock at the hole in his chest, purple blood already soaking his ornate uniform. "I'm Captain Jack Harper," the human said, stepping closer as Zorax collapsed to the deck. "And I'm here to deliver a message from humanity." Zorax's vision was already darkening around the edges as he looked up at the human. "What message?" Captain Harper knelt beside the dying commander, his voice dropping to almost a whisper. "You should have finished the job." As consciousness faded, Zorax's last thought was of the Dominion Council, and how they would react when they learned that the primitive humans hadn't just survived their attack. They had turned it into the beginning of their own interstellar empire, an empire built from the captured ships of their would-be conquerors. And somewhere in the back of his mind, he heard Colonel Winter's words again. "You thought this was over, but we are just getting started." The universe, Zorax realized too late, was about to learn a terrible lesson about humanity. Never corner a species that has nothing left to lose. Supreme Counselor Vex Terra gazed at the holographic display with all four of her eyes narrowed to slits. The scattered remnants of Fleet Commander Zorax's once mighty armada limped through the void toward the Dominion's forward outpost. What should have been a triumphant return was now a desperate retreat. 12 ships, she murmured, out of 300. How is this possible? Admiral Krull, his weathered exoskeleton bearing the scars of 100 campaigns, stood rigidly beside her. "The preliminary reports are disturbing, Supreme Counselor. The humans employed tactics we have never encountered before." Tactics. Vex Terra spat the word out. These creatures barely mastered atomic energy. They were confined to a single world. What tactics could they possibly employ against our fleet? "Desperation," Krull replied simply. "When we destroyed their civilization, we expected surrender. Instead, we created an enemy with nothing to lose." The door to the command center hissed open as General Malix entered, his ceremonial armor clinking with each heavy step. "The Council demands answers, Vex Terra. The Eternal Glory was our flagship. Zorax was our most decorated commander." "I'm aware," Vex Terra snapped, her cranial frill flaring with irritation. "What of the data retrieval? Did any of the surviving ships manage to record what happened?" Malix nodded grimly. "We have fragmented visual data from the cruiser Vengeful Spirit. It doesn't make sense." "Show me," Vex Terra ordered. The holographic display flickered, then showed exterior footage of a Dominion warship. Tiny figures swarmed across its hull like insects, attaching themselves to maintenance hatches, weapon ports, and sensor arrays. Some carried what appeared to be crude cutting tools, others seemed to be attaching devices to the ship's exterior. "Are those humans?" Vex Terra asked incredulously. "In basic pressure suits?" "Yes," Krull confirmed. "They launched themselves at our vessels by the thousands. Many died in the vacuum. More were killed by point defense systems. But enough survived to breach our hulls." The footage shifted to interior corridors of the ship. The scenes were chaotic, Dominion crew members firing energy weapons at advancing humans. The humans, despite taking horrific casualties, kept coming. They fought with projectile weapons, improvised explosives, and in many cases their bare hands. "This is madness," Vex Terra whispered. "No species fights like this." "No species we have encountered before," Malix corrected. "These humans, they don't fight like soldiers. They fight like cornered animals." The final clip showed a human female standing on the bridge of a captured Dominion vessel. Behind her, other humans worked frantically at control stations, some consulting paper manuals as they attempted to operate alien technology. This transmission was broadcast across all Dominion frequencies 12 solar cycles ago, Krull explained. The human female looked directly at the camera. Her face was gaunt, with fresh scars running across one cheek. "Attention, Galactic Dominion," she began. "My name is Colonel Maya Winters of Earth. By now you have realized that your attack on our planet has failed. Yes, you killed billions of us. Yes, you destroyed our cities, our infrastructure, our military bases. But humanity doesn't die so easily." She gestured to the captured bridge around her. "Your fleet commander Zorax made a critical error. He assumed that because you destroyed our civilization, we would give up. Instead, you created 4 billion vengeful ghosts with nothing left to lose." She leaned closer to the camera. "Your technology is impressive. Your ships are powerful. But they are now ours. And we are quick learners." Vexterra felt a chill run through all 6 of her limbs as the human continued. "We are coming for you," Winters stated flatly. "Not just to defend what remains of our world, but to ensure you can never threaten another species again. You should prepare yourselves. You thought you knew what war was. You are about to learn." The transmission ended, leaving the command center in stunned silence. "This is preposterous," Vexterra finally said. "They captured a few ships. They are still primitives playing with technology they can't possibly understand." "With respect, Supreme Counselor," Krull interjected, "our latest intelligence suggests otherwise." "Explain," she demanded. Krull tapped a command into his wrist device, changing the holographic display to show a star chart of the sector containing Earth. "We have been monitoring the situation. In the 30 cycles since Zorax's defeat, the humans have not only learned to operate our captured vessels but have begun modifying them. They have established outposts on several of their system's outer planets and moons. They are mining resources at an unprecedented rate." "For what purpose?" Malax asked. "To build more ships," Krull replied grimly. "But not copies of ours. Hybrids, vessels that combine our technology with design elements unique to human thinking. They are unsettling." He displayed an image of one such craft. Where Dominion vessels were sleek and elegant, this human monstrosity was angular and bristling with weapons. It looked less like a spacecraft and more like a flying fortress. "They have taken our antimatter power cores and applied them to weapons systems we never considered," Krull continued. "Their vessels carry fewer crew, but are more heavily automated. And they are fast. Incredibly fast." Vexterra dismissed the image with a wave of her hand. "So they are innovative. It doesn't matter. The Dominion has 10,000 worlds, billions of warriors, manufacturing capabilities beyond anything these humans can imagine. We will crush them." "That's what Zorax thought," Malax pointed out quietly. Before Vexterra could respond, an alarm blared throughout the command center. A junior officer rushed to a control panel, his scales paling to an ashen gray. "Multiple FTL signatures detected," he reported. "They are coming in fast, configurations unknown." "Where?" Vexterra demanded. "Everywhere," the officer whispered. "Simultaneous appearances at 30 different colony worlds across the Outer Rim." The main display updated to show the strategic situation. Vexterra felt her heart stutter as she saw the pattern emerge. The humans weren't launching a single concentrated attack. They were striking everywhere at once, small hit-and-run raids across a vast front. "Impossible," she breathed. "They couldn't have built enough ships in so short a time." "They didn't," Krull realized, studying the tactical data. "They are using our own patrol vessels against us. The ships they captured from Zorax's fleet. They have split them into small strike forces." "What are they targeting?" Malax asked. The junior officer looked up from his console. "Communication hubs, command centers, shipyards, precision strikes in and out before our defensive fleets can respond." Another officer interrupted. "Supreme Counselor, we are receiving thousands of transmissions from the attacked worlds. The humans, they are broadcasting something into our public communication channels. "Show me," Vextara ordered. The display changed to show what appeared to be recorded images from Earth before the attack. Peaceful cities, families in parks, scientists in laboratories, artists creating works of beauty. The images were interspersed with footage of the Dominion bombardment, cities in flames, civilians running in terror, children crying amongst the ruins. "They are broadcasting this to our civilian populations," Krull said quietly. "Showing them what we did." "So what?" Vextara snapped. "Our people know we are at war." "Do they know why?" Malix asked. "Do they know we struck first? That we attacked a world that posed no threat to us?" "The humans were a potential future threat," Vextara insisted. The council determined. She was interrupted by another alarm. "New transmission," the communications officer announced. "It's being broadcast on all frequencies, across all Dominion worlds." A human male appeared on screen. Unlike Colonel Winters, he wore what appeared to be a formal uniform, his bearing dignified despite the grim set of his features. "People of the Galactic Dominion," he began. "I am Admiral Thomas Reeves of the United Earth Fleet. Your leadership has committed an atrocity against my world. Billions of innocent lives, men, women, and children who had never even heard of your empire, were extinguished on the orders of your council." He paused, his expression hardening. "But this message isn't for your leaders. It's for you, the ordinary citizens of the Dominion. We have no quarrel with you. We don't desire your destruction or conquest. We want only justice, and the assurance that what happened to Earth will never happen to another world." The display split to show images of Dominion warships firing on defenseless human cities alongside the new footage of the human counterattacks, precise or surgical strikes against military targets. "Note the difference," Admiral Reeves continued. "Your leaders bombed our hospitals, our schools, our homes. We target only military installations. Your leaders sought our extinction. We seek only accountability. Cut the transmission." Vextara ordered frantically. "We can't," the communications officer replied. "They have overridden our system somehow. In the coming days." Reeves continued, "We will continue our campaign against your military infrastructure, not out of vengeance, but necessity. And we make this offer to the civilians and military personnel of the Dominion. Join us. Help us bring your war criminals to justice. Help us build a galaxy where no species need fear extinction at the hands of another." The transmission cut off, replaced by the tactical display showing more human strikes across Dominion space. "This is unprecedented," Krull said after a moment of stunned silence. "They are not just fighting us. They are attempting to turn our own people against us." "It won't work," Vextara declared, but her voice lacked conviction. "Our citizens are loyal to the Dominion. Our citizens have never questioned the Council before," Malix pointed out, "though they have never had reason to. But now they are seeing evidence of an unprovoked attack against a species that had done us no harm. And that changes things." A lieutenant approached, holding a data tablet. "Supreme Counselor, we are receiving reports of public demonstrations on 17 core worlds. Civilians are demanding answers." And he hesitated. "Speak," she commanded. "There have been incidents of military personnel refusing orders. Several garrison commanders have declared they will not fire on human vessels unless directly attacked." Vextara felt the ground shifting beneath her feet. The unthinkable was happening. Not just military defeat, but the potential collapse of the Dominion itself, all because of these humans they had failed to exterminate. "We need to respond with overwhelming force," she decided. "Recall the home fleets. We will crush these human raiders and make an example of them." "With respect," Krull said carefully, "that may be exactly what they want." "Explain yourself, Admiral." "Look at their strategy," he said, gesturing to the tactical display. "Small, fast strikes across a vast area. They are forcing us to split our forces, to chase shadows. If we commit our home fleets, we leave our core worlds vulnerable." "Vulnerable to what?" Vextara scoffed. They have a handful of ships. Do they? Malex asked quietly. We don't actually know what forces they have managed to assemble. And there's something else to consider. He pointed to the edges of the display. Notice how they haven't struck any worlds of our subject species? Only pure Dominion worlds. They are sending a message to the races we have conquered. You think our subjects would revolt? Vex Terra asked, alarmed. If they believe a small, previously unknown species can successfully challenge us. Yes, I do, Malex confirmed. The humans aren't just fighting a war. They are dismantling an empire. Before Vex Terra could respond, the entire command center shook violently. Warning klaxons blared as the lights flickered. We are under attack. The tactical officer shouted. Multiple human vessels have appeared in orbit. Impossible. Vex Terra cried. This is the capital world. Our defenses are impenetrable. The main view screen showed a terrifying sight, a massive human warship, clearly built around the salvaged core of a Dominion dreadnought, but modified almost beyond recognition. Its hull bristled with weapons unlike anything in the Dominion arsenal. They have targeted the planetary defense grid, Krull reported, his voice steady despite the chaos. Precision strikes, taking out our ability to respond. Launch all available ships. Vex Terra ordered. Activate the orbital platforms. The platforms aren't responding, the tactical officer replied, panic evident in his voice. Something's overriding their control systems. Another violent tremor shook the command center as the lights failed completely, emergency illumination casting everything in a bloody red glow. They have hit the central power distribution network, Malex reported grimly, switching to backup systems. The holographic display flickered, then stabilized, showing a new transmission. Colonel Winters stood on what appeared to be the bridge of the massive human vessel. Behind her stood Admiral Reeves and a dozen other humans in various uniforms. Supreme Counselor Vex Terra, Winters said, her voice calm despite the circumstances. By now you understand your situation. Your defensive grid is offline. Your communication systems are under our control. Your orbital forces have been neutralized. What do you want? Vex Terra demanded, knowing the humans could hear her. Your unconditional surrender, Reeves answered simply. And the immediate transfer of all Dominion leadership to custody aboard our vessel to stand trial for crimes against sentient life. You must be joking, Vex Terra snarled. The Dominion will never surrender to primitives. Look outside, Counselor Winters suggested. With growing dread, Vex Terra approached the armored window of the command center. The sky above the capital was filled with human vessels of various sizes. Between them flew smaller craft that were clearly not of human design, ships belonging to species that had been subject states of the Dominion for generations. Your empire is falling, Winters continued. Not just because of us, but because of what you are. Your unprovoked attack on Earth revealed your true nature to the galaxy. Now everyone knows that no world is safe as long as the Dominion exists. How? Vex Terra whispered. How did you do this in so short a time? You gave us the tools, Admiral Reeves explained. Your ships, your technology. But more importantly, you gave us a cause. Nothing unites a species like an existential threat. Before your attack, we were divided, fractious, fighting amongst ourselves over petty differences. You made us one people, Winters added. And then you made a critical error. You left us with just enough survivors and just enough rage to ensure that every human alive had only one purpose, making you pay. Malax stepped forward. What happens if we refuse your terms? Then we do to your homeworld what you tried to do to ours, Reeves said simply. The difference is we will succeed. The command center fell silent as the Dominion leaders contemplated their options. You can't possibly hold the Empire, Vex Terra said finally. Even if you take the capital, there are thousands of worlds that will resist. We don't want your empire, Winters replied, surprising them. We want justice. And we want change. She gestured, and the transmission expanded to show dozens of alien faces, representatives of species that had been conquered or subjugated by the Dominion over the centuries. "Meet the Galactic Cooperative," Reeves said, "born in the wake of your attack on Earth." When these species saw that the mighty Dominion could be defeated, they found their courage. When they saw that humans fought not for conquest but for justice, they found common cause with us. "We are not here to replace your empire with ours," Winters added. "We are here to end the very concept of empire. Each world will govern itself. Each species will determine its own fate. The cooperative exists only to ensure that no species ever again attempts what you did." Krull stepped forward, his military bearing undiminished despite the grim circumstances. "And the Dominion? What becomes of our people? Your colonies will be free to choose their own path," Reeves answered. "Join the cooperative, remain independent, or maintain cultural ties with your homeworld. The choice is theirs. But the Dominion as a conquering force, as an empire that consumes other worlds, that ends today." Vexterra looked from the transmission to her advisors, seeing in their faces the recognition of inevitable defeat. Outside, more ships appeared in the sky above the capital, vessels of a dozen different species, all united against the empire that had dominated them for so long. "You have lost, Counselor," Winters said softly. "But your people don't have to suffer for the crimes of their leaders. Surrender now, and we promise fair treatment for all non-combatants. Continue to resist, and we will be forced to do what you would do in our position." The unspoken threat hung in the air between them. With a heavy sigh, Vexterra made the only decision she could. "I, Supreme Counselor Vexterra, authorize the immediate stand-down of all Dominion military forces. I surrender the capital to human forces, pending formal terms." Admiral Reeves nodded gravely. "A wise decision, Counselor. Transport ships will arrive shortly to evacuate your government officials. You have my word they will be treated in accordance with interstellar humanitarian principles." As the transmission ended, Vexterra turned to Krull and Mallex. How did a single primitive species bring down the mightiest empire the galaxy has ever known?" Mallex shook his head slowly. "We judged them by their technology, not their spirit. We thought them weak because they hadn't spread beyond their world. We never considered that perhaps they remained unified on one planet by choice, not limitation. And we gave them the one thing no species should ever have," Krull added quietly. "A reason to unite every fragment of their being toward a single purpose. We didn't just attack their world, we awakened something that had been dormant within them." Through the window, Vexterra watched as the first human shuttles descended toward the governmental complex. In less than a standard cycle, the Dominion had fallen, not through overwhelming force, but through the unrelenting determination of a species that refused to accept extinction. "Send the surrender order to all commands," she said finally. "The war is over." As the message went out across what had once been the greatest empire in known space, Colonel Maya Winters stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching the Dominion capital through the main viewport. "Was it worth it?" Admiral Reeves asked quietly, standing beside her. "The cost?" Winters thought of the billions dead on Earth, the ruined cities, the ecosystems that would take centuries to recover. She thought of the makeshift fleet that had launched their desperate counterattack, and how many had died in the cold vacuum simply to give humanity a fighting chance. "We will rebuild," she said finally. "Not just our world, but a galaxy where this can never happen again." She turned to face the representatives of a dozen formerly subjugated species who now stood on her bridge as equals. Together. Across the stars, the message spread. The Dominion had fallen, freedom was possible. And a species called humans, previously unknown to the galaxy at large, had done what many had thought impossible. They had defeated an empire, not through superior technology or overwhelming numbers, but through something far more powerful, the absolute refusal to be extinguished. The galaxy would never be the same again.